What's up, everybody? John Eric Poli here with My MMA News, and it is a huge weekend for us martial arts fans. Of course, tomorrow night, UFC 257 goes down. It's the return of Conor McGregor as he takes on Dustin Poirier. And before any of that even takes place, we all get to watch a great movie that you're going to want to check out. The name of the movie is Born a Champion. It will arrive in select theaters on digital and on demand starting today, and the movie will be made available on DVD starting on January the 26th. So, joining us today is the star of that film, Patrick Flanery. So, Sean, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and for being here as you have such a busy day coming up here, because I'm sure you have a lot going on here with the movie just coming out.
No, my pleasure to be here.
So, Sean, based off of your name, we can tell that you're all Irish, and what do you know? You play an Irish guy in this movie here. So, you have the lead role. The name of the character is Mickey Kelly, and Mickey has a lot going on, from the military to being a father, of course, fighting. So, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about your role in this film, and kind of tell everybody just about the film in general while you do that?
Wow. Well, I mean, ultimately, it's a film about a guy that got out of the military in the early 90s. He was an early adopter of Brazilian Jiu-jitsu, one of the first American black belts. And it's a story of when Jiu-jitsu first came to our shores. It was the wild, wild west, as any practitioner out there knows and remembers. And it's his journey. Ultimately, I mean, the story is about faith, fatherhood, family, love, and legacy. And it's about some of the most important things in my life, and hopefully that translates through the film.
And now you have a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and we'll talk a little bit more about that coming up here. But I wanted to know, since you actually not only starred in this film, but you helped write it, is this based on a true story at all? Like, was there something that you came across in your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training or coaching throughout all these years that helped lead to you writing this story?
Kind of a little bit of both. I mean, from everybody that came up, in the 90s and knew about this, the Wild Wild West had so many magical stories. The clouds parted and the martial arts truth was exposed when Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu first came to the shores. I wrote this in bed one night in 2007. And if that gives you a little insight into the gestation process of filmmaking, it took that long, till 2019, for us to actually be on set shooting this film. But it is a story of a guy that gets sucked into the world of NHB, because back then there weren't mixed martial arts. As a matter of fact, there was no mixing. It was just no holds barred, which meant anything goes. And it's that story and the evolution of the sport itself. But ultimately, it's a love story. But I wrote it in bed one night, and I woke up the next morning, and I sent it to a producer buddy of mine. He read it, and he said, "Man, we got to make this into a movie." And then went the long 12-year haul to kind of push it uphill and end up on a set.
And now here you are, 12 years later, the film finally happens, and like I said, you not only starred in it, but you helped write it as well. Kind of just tell everybody how difficult that has to be, because I can only imagine just doing one of those things has to be tough, never mind doing both.
This is something I've been doing for 30 years. So, I've had real jobs before. I threw papers when I was 8 years old. I changed the deep fat fryer at Church's Fried Chicken, through high school. I've had real jobs. I moved furniture for Atlas Van Lines. So I consider a job something that you absolutely would not do unless somebody's paying you to do it. This is the only industry I've ever experienced where people would do it for free in hopes that one day somebody sees them and says, "Man, that guy did a good job. Now let's pay him to do the next one." So it is, you are wearing a lot of hats, but I have a love story. I have a love affair with telling stories, and it's certainly a pleasure to me. Wearing that many hats is not it's not an effort. It's a creative dream.
And now we'll talk about your co-stars a little bit here. Your co-stars for the film, the very pretty and talented Katrina Bowden, and of course, Denis Quaid. What a great actor. He's been in so many films throughout the years there. So why don't you tell everybody what it was like to work with both of those guys?
Katrina was on the top of our list for casting, even before we approached her. And I'll tell you the way that we got her. I actually slid into her DMs. I sent her a DM, and she's married. She's happily married. But I sent her. I just said, hey, I wrote a story. I think you'd be amazing for this, and I'd love for you to read it if you have a minute. And she read it, and she joined us. It was absolutely crazy, but she was top on the list. Dennis Quaid. I mean, I've been a fan of Dennis Quaid since my entire life. And the fact that he joined us on the set and said some words I wrote kind of blows my mind. You know, I'm a huge fan of his. And it's wonderful when you meet somebody like that, you get to work with them on a daily basis and they don't let you down. That's one of the most solid dudes I've ever met in the industry. He's a joy and a pleasure to work with. And I think he crushed it in this film.
So now Dennis Quaid, like I said, he's been in a ton of films, and he's done a lot of sporting movies over the years here. So I have a few of them written down. So we have The Rookie, The Winning Season, Everyone's All-American, The Express, a lot of like football, baseball movies. I think he was in a track movie there. First time, though, that I recall him actually doing a film involving fighting. So what was he like there on set, having to go through with the punches and the kicks and rolling on the mats and the whole 9 yards? Was he comfortable being around that?
Yeah, man, Dennis Quaid's a dude at the heart of being a dude. He's unflappable. Nothing shakes him. I think Dennis Quaid, having just spent, one film in his presence, that dude seems like the kind of dude that would get in a cage. 100%. I wouldn't, if you knock his drink over and you mouth off to him, I don't think he's going to call for his friend. I think he's going to crack you. That's a solid dude.
So what you're saying is, if you see Dennis Quaid out in public, he's not somebody to mess with, is what you're saying.
I mean, he's a wonderful dude, but I don't think he's your typical Hollywood, I play a tough guy on camera. He's a tough dude, man.
And for everyone that's out there that's a fan of the UFC, they're going to want to check the film out as well, because some people they're going to be familiar with. So first you have Renzo Gracie, who's just a whole legend of martial arts going way back there. But right now it's current UFC featherweight Edson Barboza and current UFC welterweight Mickey Gall. They make appearances in the film as well. So how'd you get those guys on board, and what was it like working with them?
Kind of the same thing with Edson. When I wrote this, I imagined his face, because to me, he's one of the scariest looking dudes on the UFC roster. His personality could not be more diametrically opposed to who he is. I mean, he's the most docile, wonderful, loving, giving dude I've ever met in a fight room. And I sent him an Instagram message. He didn't respond. I don't even think he operates his Instagram. And I saw that he tagged his wife in a couple of photos. So I sent her a message, and I said, I'm trying to get a hold of your husband. I'd love for him to have a role in a movie that I wrote. And next thing you know, she gave it to him, and he read it. He came out and he joined us as well. But, having with such intricate fight scenes, I think it's imperative to have people that not only know what they're doing, but are at the top of their craft. Especially, we didn't have a $50 million budget. We shot this on a shoestring. So casting people to do highly specialized and technical movements in one take, you have to have the right people. And so our rehearsal was this. Hey, Edson, you're going to do this. I'm going to counter with that. I'm going to transition to this. I'll hit this takedown. Then you'll reverse with this. And we just did it. He could hear it and understand it, and we just do it. We didn't even physically rehearse it. We just did it on camera. Most of the things we did once, and we moved on. And he never touched me. That guy threw flying knees over and over to my temple, never once grazed me. Threw power lows right to my knee, never once injured me. That's how accurate that guy is.
And that's something that Edson can be that pinpoint accurate. I feel bad for the guys that got to fight him, because it sounds like he's just so precise there with his shots. But I was wondering, given your background in jiu-jitsu, like I said earlier, you have a black belt in it. Did you get to train with these guys and roll around and work on some things? Did you maybe teach them anything? Did they teach you anything? What was that experience like?
No, we actually never trained. I mean, the schedule was so, we're shooting every single day, from crack of dawn in the morning till nighttime. And we barely have time to eat. It was a pretty packed and dense schedule. Love to, though. Open invitation, as I've told those guys. If they're ever in town, throw me a message and let's clap hands and go. Wonderful, wonderful guys. Wonderful guys. So it'd be an honor to train with all of them.
Yeah, it's actually Mickey Gall's birthday today, too, believe it or not. Did you know that? The movie's coming out on his birthday?
Is that right?
It is, I'm pretty sure.
Let's shoot him a text right now.
There you go. Shoot him a text.
I am.
I'm going to do the same exact thing. He might be sleeping. He just got to, if his Instagram search correct, when I looked at it this morning, he just got back to Vegas because he was just in Abu Dhabi on Fight Island.
Is that right?
Yeah. So he was out there. He was cornering Matt Brown for his fight, and now they just got back into Vegas. Boom. There it is.
Crushed it.
Awesome.
I have no idea what time it is there, man, but I probably just woke him up.
That's all right. He'll get it when he wakes up in the morning. No big deal.
Happy birthday, Mickey.
All right, Sean. So now you have a black belt in jiu-jitsu. You've been training it for a number of years. Let's go back to the beginning there. Just how did you get involved with the sport?
Man, I've been a martial artist since I was 9 years old. Jerry Banks in the Pacific Palisades karate studio. This guy came in and they started putting mats down on hardwood floors. And I looked at the patch and I saw that it said Rickson and then Gracie. I had no idea who this Rickson guy was. I had no idea how to pronounce his name back then, but I knew that Gracie name. And so I talked to the gentleman and I said, "Are you any relation to Hoist Gracie? Is this that type?" He said, "Yeah, he's my brother." It's like, what? And I told him, I said, "Man, ever since I saw this, November 23rd, 1993, I've been dying to train this." And he went in the back and he came out and he threw a gi at me. He goes, "Yeah, put the gi. Tonight you're going to train." And I thought, "Is that okay? Can I?" He said, "Yeah, of course, my friend." Put the gi on and we did a little bit of movement, hardly any. Lemon, Luis Heredia was there. Henry Akins was there. And then he said, "Okay, we're going to do some spa. Pick a partner, same size, same shape." So I heard so many magical stories about this martial art. I picked the guy across the room. His name is Matt Akins. He was Henry's little brother. I had no idea at the time, but I knew he had a blue belt on. And I knew the belt system went white, blue, purple, brown, black. So I knew this guy had the first colored belt that you receive. He was about 135 pounds soaking wet. So I probably had 35 pounds on him. I didn't do that to be a bully. I did it because I've heard so many magical, mystical stories about this martial art. I thought, if this little 135-pound dude with the first colored belt you ever get can stalemate with me, I'll be a believer in this martial art. Well, I think everybody knows how the story goes. We clapped hands, choked me, arm locked me, shoulder locked me, wrist locked me, knee barred me, heel hooked me, and the clouds parted. I've never been that comprehensively dominated in my life. And from that moment on, I wanted to exchange, what do I need to give you to have that power over another mortal? And I pretty much camped out at the Rickson Gracie Academy for the next handful of years. I became completely obsessed with jiu-jitsu, and I stay that way today.
And would you recommend it to people, or if there's somebody out there that, whether it's them themselves that want to get involved and they're debating on taking class, or whether it's an adult with their kids that they want their kids to be able to defend themselves and they're thinking about sending their kids to a gym, would you highly recommend this to everybody?
I can't recommend jiu-jitsu more wholeheartedly or more profoundly. As a matter of fact, a lot of people ask me that because this film's coming out. And I just recorded a video on my Instagram account. It's SP Flanery, at SP Flanery, Flanery with one N. And I told about my passion, the what and the why, what it is and why it's that powerful in my life. If you want the details and know exactly what I think, go check out that video, because that's everything I feel about that martial art. And I think, you asked me if there's any true threads in this story. Well, Sheikh Tahoon from Dubai met Hoyler Gracie back in the 90s. As a matter of fact, when he went back home, he made jiu-jitsu mandatory learning in their high school there. That's what it means to him. And this story has a thread that takes place over there for that very reason, because he was that commanding of a voice, and he believed in the martial art like I believe in the martial art. So absolutely, there is no downside to training this martial art, or having, even more so, having your child train it.
And now, of course, everyone's excited for tomorrow with UFC 257. Conor McGregor returned to fight Dustin Poirier. You're a big UFC fan yourself, so why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about how excited you are for the fight? 'Cause I'm sure that you are. Everyone's excited to see Conor McGregor return. And do you have a prediction for us?
First, hell yeah, I'm excited. Second, if I have a prediction, look, I haven't trained with either one of these guys, so this is simply a couch prognosis. But I would say, if I was a betting man, which I'm really generally not, with money at least, I would say Conor wins 9 out of 10 of these matches. In my estimation, purely from visual, I would say that their ground game is probably going to negate each other. If you had to pit them against each other on the ground, I'd actually, oddly enough, I'd give Conor a slight edge from the couch, oddly enough. But on the feet, I think he has a significant advantage, and I don't think that'll be easy to overcome. I think Conor will keep it on the feet. I think he's more than capable of defending anything on the ground, and I think it'll end in a KO. I mean, that guy's got a guided missile for a left. It's an absolute intercontinental ballistic missile, and I think that'll end this fight. That's my armchair forecast.
So what you're saying is there's your prediction, but don't throw money on it and listen to me. Is pretty much what you're saying there.
Hey, you do whatever you want. You're like, well, I'm going to put money on my recommendation. I'm just saying, I've never trained with either one of these cats. Love to and be an honor to. Also, Poirier's from Louisiana. I was born in Lake Charles, Louisiana. So I'm a huge fan of Dustin Poirier. But if I have to analyze, I don't think stylistically this is a good matchup for Poirier. I don't.
All right, Sean, I'm looking forward to the fight as well, like all of us are, but you've been very generous with your time here today. I know you have a busy schedule today with the film coming out, so one last thing here before you roll out. Last pitch to everybody. Tell everybody why they should go out and watch this movie.
This is my love letter to jiu-jitsu. This is a film that I've been trying to make since 2007. And if you love any of the 5 things I wrote it about, faith, family, fatherhood, love, and legacy, go see it. And please send me a direct message on my Instagram account. Let me know what you think. And Facebook as well. I wrote it from my heart. And I mean every word of it. And I hope it's received with open arms in the same way that I hope to deliver it.
And there you have it, guys. That was Sean Patrick Flanery. Thanks again, Sean, for your time. Appreciate it. And good luck with everything with the movie here. And I hope everybody goes ahead and checks it out. Just a reminder for everybody, Born a Champion arrives in select theaters on digital and on demand starting today. And it will be out on DVD starting on January the 26th. So make sure you check that out. And as always, before I roll out, want to remind everybody, subscribe to this YouTube channel. You'll see more great interviews just like this. And remember, MyMMANews, great information, great stories and content coming out there on a daily basis. So go ahead, check out our website, and make sure you go to our social media accounts as well. See you later, everybody.